A common theme for the most recent Zelda games has been bigger is better. This is unsurprising since this has been the general theme for the Nintendo Switch at large. Smash Bros. Ultimate brought back every fighter and added a ton more. Mario Kart 8 has nearly 100 different courses to choose from while racing. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both embody this idea. Together, they have nearly the same amount of content as every other Zelda game combined. It makes sense why they made these games the way they did, and I had a lot of fun with these enormous games. But if they announce that we are getting another game that follows this same formula, I will immediately vaporize the instant my brain is capable of registering the sound waves as information. The Zelda series rides itself on innovation and creativity. The last thing I want from the series is more of the same. This goes for open world games and the traditional elements of the Zelda series. I don't want another Breath of the Wild, but I also don't want another Ocarina of Time. I would love it if the developers took things that work from both flavors of Zelda, complex dungeons, key items, intuitive exploration, and add a bit of extra spice to them to keep it fresh. Something specific I really want to see in the next Zelda game is density. A problem that I have with many different Zelda games is that I have to travel way too far to interact with the next unique puzzle. While this travel gives a sense of grandeur and scale to the game, it also feeds into the bloat that open world games are so often subject to. I would prefer a smaller world with more unique puzzles over a large world with fewer or more redundant puzzles. I think one way to do this would be to have the game take place in a different setting than usual. One suggestion I've made in the past is to make a more steampunk or sci-fi Zelda game that takes place in an urban environment. A densely packed city could be a solution to the bloat. It doesn't even need to be a traditional city. It could be a weird fantasy Zelda city with changing gravity, twisted hallways, and non-Euclidean geometry. Think of it as one giant dungeon that contains smaller dungeons inside of it. With some of this strange new environment, it would also allow for Nintendo to make some of their most interesting lore yet. How magic and curses interact with the pseudo-modern era would be really cool. I also think this would be a fantastic opportunity for the Zelda team to pull a soft reboot of Zelda lore. Imagine with me for a moment that in this densely packed urban environment, we have a library of sorts. You have the history section that talks about the important games in the series and details the lore that the developers want to follow. This would create the actual canon of the series. They can simultaneously leave it vague, but still give a general framework by which to go from. Then you can have a different section in this same area labeled fiction that tells stories from games like Four Swords or the Oracle games, or maybe even the Tingle games. This gives an opportunity to discredit contradicting lore in the series and move on with more uniform storytelling without holding the developers hostage to lore that was created at 3 a.m. in a fever dream trying to finish their game. All of this being said, as my comments frequently point out, my opinions suck. So I hope you enjoy the thoughts of all of the other Zelda Shorts creators. You can hear them by checking out the linked video below.